So this was something that came up a little bit over the weekend, a bit of a warning, and I was looking into it myself, and I'm like, man, this is realistically really bad, and especially in the day and age where all of us have so many digital games. We have like just thousands. A lot of us do. Like, I know I do. And I try to be as careful with my games as possible, but it's like, yeah, it can be difficult, and it's something that I think not enough people talk about. So I wanted to do a video on it and see what's going on, and this is really a bad situation all around, and it does make Xbox look bad because it's like, you're Microsoft, you guys have Windows, you guys always have all these different ways to kind of protect people. Shouldn't you guys do a little bit better idea of what's going to happen in the future or whatever? But yeah, here, let's go ahead and get started, and I'm going to link this in the description. You guys can check it out. There's a new Xbox investigation that highlights the danger of banned and hacked accounts, so do everything you can to stay safe. Obviously, it's crucial to keep your Xbox account safe, especially since your games are tied to your specific account, right? So it's not like they're tied to your Xbox. Now, if you have physical games, yeah, those are yours. You can, that's a good thing about physical is, if you lose your account, hey, you can still have your games. But in these new ways and new eras of people kind of messing with people's accounts and being able to kind of fish people's accounts, or even if you do something to get them blocked, you're going to lose all your games, which is really a terrible thing. According to this, Windows Central editor Jez Gordon says he's been investigating reports of banned Xbox accounts for almost a year, and it's rare to get anything back. In that situation, not only could you lose all your digital Xbox purchases, but stuff like OneDrive photos and important documents could no longer be accessible as well. He says, and I quote, "I've been investigating these reports for almost a year. When you get banned on Xbox for whatever reason, even if it's not your fault, you can lose not only your Xbox account, but decades of photos on OneDrive, Office docs, and everything, and it's rare to get anything back." Because the original thing was, this person said he's had his account since the Xbox 360, spent thousands on games, and got hacked. The hacker replaced his email with a different email. Microsoft Security says they can't get back his account. Is there anything you could do? 15 years of lost, please help. So, I mean, can you imagine how bad that would be? You lose everything. Again, like, I would suggest that most people or everybody use two-factor authentication, where you got to have, your phone number and, all that kind of stuff. Don't just rely on, your email and a password, and never click on links that are sent to your email. Even if you think they're safe, man, I would just, sometimes I'll, if something comes up and it's like, oh, from Microsoft, we want you to review and do this, I'll close out of that and then open up another one that's already signed in and then see what's going on there, because they'll try to fish you, and like I said, the two-factor authentication is like super important to be able to kind of go out there and get that. So even though Jazz mentions banned account, the one he's responding to relates to a phished account, and others chimed in to mention they'd had mixed experience when trying to recover those type of accounts. Somebody said, the exact same thing happened to me last month. Account got hacked. Microsoft refused to return it despite acknowledging I am the owner. They chose to instead ban it to protect it. 20 plus years gone. Over 100 digital games stuck in limbo and might as well be gone. What's even more annoying is that the person that fished me isn't even using it. Just threw on a throwaway email and left it to sit around to rot. Somebody else says, I was banned. I was phished. My email address on my account is changed to a Russian email address. The email response from Microsoft says they can see unauthorized activity on my account, but due to their security protocols, they or their engineers can't help. Somebody else says they can help, they're just unwilling. Somebody else says, yeah, my experience was a little while ago. I was able to get someone to view where the account was logged in from, the serial numbers associated with Xbox I was logging in from. It was those things that they used to reinstate me. My email account was lost forever. It took a lot of persistence, asking for managers, etc. Eventually they got fed up with me, but they also had a number to call then. Ultimately, it sounds like getting phished. Xbox account can still be recovered in certain cases with enough persistence, but getting banned is a particularly big risk. You might really struggle to get anything back if that happens. This isn't a situation that's limited to just Xbox, of course, and the solution is the same across multiple platforms. Make sure you abide by the rules, etc. This is why I always say, for me anyway, why you don't see a lot of cheating on console. Like, I know a lot of people will probably disagree, and whenever I bring up the cheating aspects of PC gaming, people always go, oh, well, people cheat on console too. I'm like, it's a rare thing. Even like Activision, EA, they all admit that it's super rare for anybody to cheat, because first of all, it's a closed system. Second of all, we're paying to play online, right? And our titles, our games are all locked to that account. So if they ban that account, you lose everything. There's just no thing like that on PC to where that happens. So that to me is always kind of like the big difference right there. And again, I feel sorry that this kind of stuff happens the way that it does. Microsoft does provide safety features that you can all use. I always suggest two-factor authentication and the ability to set up passwordless account. There's different guides and stuff. In fact, I'll link one if you're interested in learning more to try to do it. Some of them, where you need your thumbprint, facial recognition, all these different types of things are intelligent ways to stop from getting your accounts taken from you. And again, whenever something comes up, don't click on just random links. That's always like a terrible idea, and probably not the smartest thing to do. There's always going to be people out there on the lookout trying to get people's accounts and things like that. So just be super cautious with things and play it safe, because better safe than sorry. That's what I do with Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, and I'll even go in and change my password every so often, just to make sure that things are copacetic and that everything's kind of fine and things like that. Also having like a backup email associated with yours is helpful. And at the end of the day, like I said, the two-factor authentication is just, it seems like a pain in the butt a little bit to have to get a code on your phone and blah, blah, blah. But trust me, if something like this comes up and it's like, I would rather take the extra couple seconds to, do that and than to be stuck without, losing all my stuff. So yeah, kind of keep the way these things are going or whatever. And I hope that nobody ever, kind of bums this stuff out, or it would bum me out so bad, and so I feel really bad that this happens to people, and I think that this is something that a lot of people kind of have to deal with, unfortunately. So man, I hope that it's not something that you personally have to deal with, but hey, the warning's there. Figure, hey, why not do a video and let people know kind of what's going on, and hey, this is something that you can kind of be prepared for and to better kind of fight against and things like that. So definitely something to just kind of keep an eye on, especially since it seems like a lot of these bans and stuff, some of these bans and stuff happens for no reason. And the fact that you can get banned for no reason and lose access to all your stuff is a really crappy kind of situation. So, again, Microsoft, they tend to kind of be like that. I don't know, like I've seen a couple things with PlayStation where they were maybe a little bit like that, but at the end of the day, I think Microsoft is probably one of the worst at trying to get your stuff back, because they used to have a phone number that you could call to kind of, if you had Xbox issues or whatever. I think it was like 1-800 for my Xbox or something, and now it's like, yeah, they don't have much of anything for issues like that. So yeah, just definitely something that realistically, it's easy to kind of see how things kind of happen, and things can kind of spiral out of control pretty quickly if you're not careful. So keep that in mind as we go along and things like that. Again, better safe than sorry. Better to kind of just make sure you have something than not. And just be careful. So that's what kind of this video is all about, and I hope you guys are all doing great and having a fantastic day and all that kind of good stuff. It's really important to kind of just remember to do the things that you got to do to kind of keep your stuff safe. It's always, like I said, some people are shocked when this kind of stuff happens, and it's like, well, what happened? And usually it's somebody that like clicked on a link, and then that link, it's called phishing, and then it's like, it looks like a legit Xbox sign in or something, or a legit email sign in, but it's not. And then you put in your password, and then they get your password, and you're and then you're kind of screwed out of your entire account. So yeah, keep that in mind. This is something that happens. It's been happening for a long time, but hopefully this is something that we'll see become a little bit better in the future. I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from with this as just kind of a precautionary thing. Microsoft even warns, hey, take advantage of our protection stuff. That's what really matters, etc., etc. You won't be able to recover your games, man. Like, that would be a terrible situation. So be safe out there. Hope you guys all have a great holiday. I'll catch you guys next time. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.